All right, everybody. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to be talking about the DJI Neo and giving a review after having used it now for about a month or so. This is going to be the review from the point of view of somebody who does not use drones. So you're probably going to get a lot of reviews online from people who have flown a lot of different types of drones and have an opinion on this one. And that's great. As somebody who did not fly a lot of drones, what I was looking for was an entry level drone, and I'm going to give you my opinion on this from somebody who's inexperienced. Is this the type of drone you could pick up for your very first drone? And will you have fun with it? Will you be successful? Is this finally the type of drone for somebody who's not incredibly technologically advanced? I'm not computer illiterate or technology illiterate, but at the same time, I have tried other drones. They required things like setups, they required balancing before you even got to fly it. It became so complicated that it just wasn't fun to use. And then during a lot of that calibration, that's the word I was looking for earlier, sometimes you could get errors and I couldn't even fly it. So I ended up never using it. So this is my first true drone that I've actually used, and I'll tell you right off the bat, I've enjoyed every minute of having it. And I think this is the entry level point. I think we finally got to the point now where drones can go mainstream, and I think the DJI Neo is the drone that's going to do that. A few important facts. It's a really light drone, so it's only 135 grams. So if you're in places that require you to register drones after they get to a certain weight, I believe that weight's around 250 grams, so this is well below that. It is really light. It is easy to travel with, and in fact, it's so light that it's actually partly a downfall. The wind really affects this. So if you don't have a really calm day, if you have a really breezy day outside, the wind is going to take and shake this all over the place. And if you go above tree level where the wind gets even worse, you're really going to notice it. That said, it has an amazing gimbal camera inside and it stabilizes it amazingly. The films that I shot were perfect. And of course, I'm not going out in hurricane winds, but I am going out when there are winds. I'm not waiting for a perfectly calm day. This is it needs to be practical. It needs to be able to be useful. You can't always wait for the perfect conditions. So when you do take this out in moderate wind, it will accommodate that with its own internal gimbal, and it's really, really good. I should also point out this shoots 4K, which is really good for a budget drone. And talking about the price point, this drone is only $250 Canadian. That's Canadian, so you guys watching from America, that's like what, 25, 30 cents? I don't know the Canadian exchange rate, but all joking aside, it would be very cheap. It's one of the cheaper drones on the market for what you get for it. You can get the Fly More combo, which is $445 here. And that gives you a couple extra batteries and a bunch of other little things. And another really impressive feature of this, and not feature, I mean price point, is that for just $709, you can get the VR headset combo. So you can actually fly this in VR. And for that price point, I'm pretty sure it's the cheapest way you could do like a first person goggle drone. So, and it's a good drone. And so you get all that for a really low price point. And a few other really good key features are the way that you can control this drone. So you can control it by remote control. You can control it with your phone, or you can control it with nothing at all but the drone itself. And that's really awesome. So if you want to just take this, throw it in your backpack, you don't necessarily want to have your phone with you. There are settings just on the top. It's as simple as pressing this button and holding it down again. I'm not going to do it because she'll speak, and who knows when she'll stop talking. But that's all there is to start it up, and then you just hit the button there. You hold it flat in your hand, and it's automatically going to follow you. And it'll follow you, and it'll start filming automatically. So there's no fancy settings. So it works perfectly. It's so simple, and not only will it follow you, you can get it to do any of the built-in options, which is like orbit or droney, follow, and then I believe you can input a custom command as well. So that's awesome. That makes this drone the simplest one I've ever personally seen, outside of like a children's toy. And the fact that it will record without you having to do anything with your phone or that, so you can actually take it without any other pieces of equipment and still get a really good image from this. And the images on this are really good. It is 4K. When I filmed and looked back at it, I was really, really impressed. I thought it was the picture quality is amazing. In fact, from the videos that I get from this drone, I take stills from those videos and use them as pictures. They're really that good. And some people, I've seen some people in reviews say that the 4K image that comes out of this is oversaturated. And you know what? Maybe from a professional photographer point of view, that might be true. The image I see is really good. Maybe it's them pushing some type of saturation for to make it look really good to layman's people like me who don't have a great idea of what quality should look like. But I'm looking for something that looks 4K, that looks really, really detailed, really sharp. This thing is sometimes a distance from you. It can follow far. It's over your shoulder, and it has the image quality is perfect. It's so good for the price point, and that's what I keep coming back to. Of course, there are better cameras out there, but for this price point, 4K I believe is the standard. I wouldn't want to go any lower than 4K in this day and age, but you get a really good one for this. Now, a couple other things about this is it'll follow you, so you can turn it on. Why I got this camera is I wanted a cameraman to follow me around. I work on a homestead. I wanted to be able to film and still have my hands free to work. So I wondered if a follow me style drone would be able to do that. And this drone is excellent. This drone is really good at it follows you. I don't quite know how it does it because it can't use face recognition because it's often above your shoulder behind you. It follows you really well. It does not have obstacle avoidance, but that doesn't mean it's colliding with things. I don't really see, this comes back to not being experienced with drones. I believe that it won't go out of its way not to hit something, but if it's following along the path I'm following through, I've never had it hit anything yet. And I did go on a hike with this through the woods, and it was pretty good at avoiding the trees. I could see that it wasn't going out of its way to not hit a tree, but at the same time, it just wasn't hitting trees. So maybe it's because it knows if something's there or it's following my exact path. I don't really know how it does it, but it's not crashing into things just because it doesn't have obstacle avoidance. It has a lot of interesting pre-built ways to film. Like I said, it'll orbit and it'll do other fancy things like that. I mean, after you see that a couple of times, what purpose does it have of like orbiting around you? If I want it to orbit, I actually spin and it spins with me. So it's really good at that. Um, it's really good at following. When I stop, it stops. It sits still. It films exactly what I want it to film. Um, you can adjust the level. It can go above, eye level, below. Um, it has everything that I wanted this drone to have. And I would rate it like a 9 out of 10 if I had to give it a rating. And once again, that's hard to compare to something where I've only previously used another drone. This would be the first drone that I'd say, like my first technical drone. I've had other like toys given to me that I have tried. And like I said, the calibration was just such a nightmare that I didn't even bother with it. I can't think of much more that this could have. I couldn't give it a 10 out of 10 because it is missing a couple of features that would make it perfect. One thing is that it itself doesn't film audio. And that's not necessarily a problem, and that's probably standard with the drone. Sometimes the drone's up in the air. Of course, if this had a microphone, it wouldn't be able to catch my voice at all. I'm not blaming the drone for that. But one good thing about the audio is that it does record audio with your phone or with a microphone. And one feature I find absolutely amazing about that is this drone's actually really loud. When it's flying near your face, its buzzing is so loud it would be hard to have a good conversation with somebody if it was right there buzzing in your face. The audio, when either you record through the app or through a microphone, it automatically filters out the sound of its own buzzing, and it does it perfectly. You would never know there was a drone in the footage from the audio. It is great. Now, of course, because it's doing a noise reduction, the audio quality you get back isn't perfect, but it's really good. For being completely automated, it is excellent. Another thing that's missing that I said is it does not have obstacle avoidance. I have never had an issue with that, but I do know that obstacle avoidance would improve its flight path. There's been a couple times where I've like walked into doors and it's kind of struggled to understand exactly what's going on. I've had it stall a couple times where it's following me and then it stops because maybe the doorway cut off my face and then it lost me. It didn't run into the door, but it did lose me going through the door. Maybe with obstacle avoidance, it would have known to swing wide or something. Hard to compare when I haven't had a drone that did it, but I do know that this drone doesn't have the obstacle avoidance. The only other thing I would say is if it was slightly heavier, it might stand up a little better to the wind. But like I said, the gimbal does compensate for that, but not having to compensate as much would be great too. My other complaint, and probably my only major complaint, is the battery life is somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes. That's pretty short. When you're out filming, it has a small battery. I wish they had some type of deluxe battery to make it last a little longer. But I mean, overall, what is there to complain about? This is an amazing drone. I think anybody who doesn't have a lot of experience with drones, you couldn't possibly go wrong with this. And one of the best parts of it is that it can grow with you. So if you want a drone that you can just throw in your backpack as cheap as possible, like just a little over $200, you won't go wrong with it. If you want to step up your game and get a controller and do some tricks in that, I know this isn't the most agile drone in the world, but you could still fly it around with remote control. I'm sure it'd be fun. And then if you want to step up your game even farther, you can get the goggles and go total VR with it. It has that capability, and you only have to start at its lowest price point of a few $100s to even see if you like it, and you won't outgrow it because it'll continue growing on with you with the technology it's compatible with. It's awesome. It would make an awesome present. I think it'd be awesome for somebody. If you're looking for a drone that'll do excellent video quality, this is absolutely it. And like I said, even the audio is really good considering how loud this drone is. So I couldn't recommend it enough. They didn't sponsor me. This is just my opinion. What I do is I go out and get tools for the homestead and review them based on my use of them in the homestead. And this has practical use. This allows me to film, keep my hands free. This will follow me. This won't get snagged up in fences and trees following me around. And it's an amazing price point because there's always a chance something's going to go wrong, something's going to get broken. I don't want to be walking around goats and sheep with a $1,200 drone that they might crush, knock out of the sky. Sometimes they play with it. So this is it. This is everything I looked for. I'm glad you guys joined me. I hope this helps some people who might be on the fence, who might be inexperienced with drones. And join me next time for another review. Thanks, guys.